We always start with the news. And in the news this week, I think the big story, everybody will agree, is that Kirk Cousins, the high-profile acquisition from the Minnesota Vikings to the Atlanta Falcons in this past offseason, has been benched. It's been announced in, I guess, it's performance-related, right? I mean, he has not been good for a few weeks. Michael Penix is going to take over their first-round draft pick. To shouldn't have happened sooner. I mean, I is the name Kirk Cousins keeping him playing for a couple of weeks. They are still technically in the hunt in the playoffs, although I think we're all in agreement they're not really going to do much. Ray, I'll start with you. What did you think about this move? I mean, if you even want to go back to why the fuck did they get Kirk Cousins and draft this kid in the first place?
Well, I mean, I think this is where they may look good if it turns out, in a positive manner. This is why you draft Penix at 8, right? And that was a head scratcher at the time. I think right now the jury obviously is still out because we haven't really seen him in a full game outside of the preseason. So yeah, I mean, look, it lasted 14 games or 15 games because he is Kirk Cousins, because you gave him $180 million. So, you want to see the product. But I say kudos to the coaching staff for even making this move, right? Because it'd have been very easy to say, you know what, Kirk's our quarterback. We're just going to ride him out for the season. And just whatever happens in the offseason happens. But I think, once again, you send that message to the locker room saying, hey, although, we gave him $180 million, only what you do on the field will last. And it's not what you signed in the offseason. It's not what Pro Bowls you made in the past and, different quarter you made about you like that. And we walk into your trap. Well, he hasn't taken over the trap. And now Penix is taking over the trap. So I'm excited to see what Penix does. He is someone that I thought maybe would have fallen here last year because I didn't think they were going to take Drake May. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what Penix does. I think that he'll play well, but it may not be enough in the long run.
Bobby, you love a new quarterback.
Well, I think it's telling how bad he's really been that they actually did make this move. You know what I mean? They paid so much money for Kirk Cousins, and they're still in contention at this point. So the fact that they're actually benching him shows how bad Kirk Cousins really has been the past, 4 or 5 weeks. It was celebrated last week when he actually threw a touchdown. That's how bad this dude has been so far this season. So it's not a surprising move at all. I do think it's a little surprising that they're going to a rookie quarterback when they're still in the mix of a playoff race. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that raised the red flags to me about why they benched him. If they had like another vet in the backup, I would have understood a little bit more. But the fact you're going to a rookie quarterback who's never taken a snap in week 15 or week 16 of a playoff race, it seems a little shaky. But I mean, I guess I give him a little bit of credit.
But I mean, don't you kind of have to see where he's at, right? I mean, he's already 24, I believe, and you can't. I mean, which actually Kirk Cousins was a 24 as a rookie as well, so that's ironic how that's happening. But you have to kind of see where he's at. So you drafted him that high. Eventually, you're looking for him to be the franchise guy. So I'm pretty sure that Raheem Morris and company, like, their best case scenario is that Penix balls out here the last few weeks. And once again, they got weapons there. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. So they got guys that he can go to. So he's not coming into a situation where, the weapons are subpar. So if the line can hold up, and like I said, if those other guys, play to their, I'll say play above water level, as I call it, then they should be okay. But it's gonna look bumpy this week coming. But I'm not. We'll see if he figures it out.
I feel like saying they have weapons there in that tone of voice is exactly, it just sums up the Atlanta Falcons this season, because it's like, but they do have weapons. Like, that seems to be like every week
we've been like that for like the past 2-3 years, though. It's not even just this year. I feel like the Falcons have been that way for a few years now. So it's about time they figure something out. Maybe Penix is the answer, though. Maybe he's finally the answer to getting those weapons involved. So we'll see.
I mean, might as well talk about it. If we take a look at the playoff picture of the Atlanta Falcons, they're 7-7. They're second in the NFC South, which is obviously a terrible division. The Bucs, it looks like, are going to win that division. I know 8-6 and 7-7 are like pretty close to each other, but I just, based on what the performances of the Bucs over the last few weeks, the way that they've looked, spoiler alert, they've made it into number 10. on the power rankings, although that is such a curse. I mean, you put the Chargers there, Bobby, and in true power rankings curse fashion, they got fucking stomped by the Bucs this week. So, maybe you are just using your powers for evil at this point, but I think I would be surprised if the Falcons did make the playoffs, just in regards to this quarterback switch. And in that sense, I agree. I just think just ride with Kirk until the end of the season and then figure out where you're at would probably be where I would lead. As a neutral, I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see Penix come in and see what happens. I mean, if he can come in, and I wouldn't say it's like do the impossible, I'd say they probably have like a 30% chance of making the playoffs. And like, I think competent quarterback play will go a long way in that regard. They're not a bad team. To your point, Ray, they have weapons. Their defenses can look a little trick or treat at times. Like they can look really leaky against elite offenses. So can anyone. But I really do think they deserve their 7-7 record. They really do seem like sort of a mid team, like right down the middle. And with quarterback play like that, the only way to go is up, I guess, could be the logic.
Right. Well, I think that's valid about the only way is up because that's just a fact. It's not an opinion.
You give him a little runway, right? Like it's not a ton of pressure on him, right? Are you looking at it like there's a ton of pressure on him to make the playoffs, or
there shouldn't be? But I mean, I know some Atlanta Falcons fans. That's not how they're feeling. Like they're expecting them to at least make a mini run at least, right? But my thought process, even as we're having this conversation, is you signed Kirk to a 4-year, 180, so that's $45 million a year. But then you bench him not even all the way through his first year. I don't know how you sell not only to him in the offseason, but more importantly, the team and the fan base. How do you sell him being the guy going forward? You may have to eat that deal and eventually trade him to another team in the offseason. So what are your thoughts on that?
Allegedly, he has a no trade clause. Allegedly. So
yeah. I'm sure he wasn't expecting a scenario like this. So
you're right. It seems like he would probably waive it, right? If you're Kirk Cousins, especially the comments after they choose Penix at 8 in the draft, he was like, I thought I was coming here to be the guy. What the fuck? Not great, right? Initially. And then this week he's like, well, I didn't forget how to play football. He doesn't seem overly impressed with the organization at this point. So I think he probably would waive it. He's 36 now. He's really sort of been the perennial almost guy, right? The regular season wonder, the can't play under the lights guy. This is the criticisms we've been laying at his feet for years. Bob, like, what do you think? I mean, where does forget the Atlanta Falcons for a second? Where does Kirk Cousins?
I mean, I feel like it's anywhere that'll actually take him at this point. It's almost.
Is he holding clipboard?
It might be.
Is he
he's coming
his
off an Achilles
injury?
Era? He's 36, and he does not look like he's coming back anytime soon. I mean, it's one of the toughest injuries to come back from, and he's already 36 years old, so it's not like he's getting any younger. I'd be intrigued to see if there's even a team out there that would eat the money or that would give up anything to take him in. The only team I can think of is like the Jets or the Colts or a team like that is known for taking in those old quarterbacks. I can't think of a team. Cleveland maybe.
Cleveland.
I mean, yeah, Cleveland could. I mean, the Giants could. I actually think he would do well in Cleveland. Honestly, I do, because it's a similar scenario to what he had what he's had in Atlanta, even in Minnesota. So when you got Jerry Jeudy has emerged as a really good receiver. You got David Njoku, you got Nick Chubb. So they have some pieces there as well. So he would play well enough for to be like, he's doing it again. I mean, to me, he's really, and this is not about this is not disrespectful what I'm about to say, because I was a fan of this guy growing up. To me, he's a notch above what Chad Pennington was.
I knew you were going to say that. I was. If you weren't going to say that, I was going to say.
Yeah, that's that's one of my irrational quarterbacks that I just.
He's going to.
I love Chad Pennington. You remember that day he went like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Pennington had a noodle for sure. But do you remember that Pennington day when he was playing on the Jets where he went like 40, 1 for 45, but it was like 180 yards or something fucking insane like that. Like that was the most Chad Pennington stat line ever.
You're throwing 5-yard outs to Laveranues Coles and Wayne Corbett, and so it's just like you're throwing those. It's like it is what it is, and then obviously he has Santana.
Kirk's always had weapons though. Like Kirk, I feel like Kirk's always had guys.
Yeah, I mean Washington not so much. I mean he had like older Vernon Davis, but I mean they did enough to kind of stay.
Kirk when he was relevant, I always had guys. I guess it makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean, but to his credit, I mean, like I said, you get the first fully guaranteed deal in history. Shout out to his agent, and once again, he played well enough in Minnesota. And once again, Minnesota had not been this powerhouse franchise. Once again, when we grew up, the Randall Cunninghams, and then obviously, Randy Moss. I'm praying for him, hoping that he's doing better. But Randy Moss, the Chris Carters, Robert Smiths. It's like you think about that era, but it's like you don't think about Minnesota being this powerhouse. Well, at least in our era. Once again, Franz Harkonnen is 50 years removed. That the Purple Eaters, that was a long time ago. So,
but now, I mean, skill position wise now.
Oh, they're killing it. They're killing it. Once again, me and Dave joked about. We went back and forth on the Sam Darnold thing, and I thought that he'd be better. Like I firmly believe that he'd be better. There's no way like that I or anybody else saw this type of season coming from it. It's unbelievable.